Whose Children Are They? It's the latest film from director Jonathan Flora. It's a film about empowered parents, embattled teachers, and frontline educators who are trying their best to open the eyes and remove the veil of what's actually going on in our school system. This film is one I just saw a few minutes ago, and it's absolutely fantastic. Be mindful, keep your kids at home. It's pretty graphic in many spots. But with that, this is going to be a film that you must see and share with your friends, and we'll talk about now in my next conservative take. So if you're unfamiliar with the way I do my movie reviews, then please check the link right here, and that will explain everything. And unlike most videos, this particular review will not have a spoiler section, because I want you to see this for yourself. However, I will point you to another video that you can check out where I'll talk about this in much detail, because this film is extremely deep. So I would be completely remiss if I didn't talk about the talent that's on this particular project. The director, Jonathan Flores, is attached to a lot of projects with Industrial Lights and Magic, George Lucas, Marvel, Disney, all that. It also includes Alex Newman, who is an Academy Award-winning journalist, as well as Virginia Walden Ford, Dr. Carol Swain, Angie Pollack, and co-writer Rebecca Friedrichs, as well as Deborah Floor, who is the president and founder of Parents of America. And if you've been around this channel for a while, it also has some people in here that you may know, like Bob Schaefer, former congressman from Colorado, as well as our good friends Joshua and Callie Fontanilla. They're also in the film. They do a wonderful job. And so let's get started with this review. So this film asks the question in the title, whose children are they? And so they start out the film essentially talking about whose children are they? Are they the government's, or are they the parents? And it's that paradigm that goes throughout the entire film. It takes you all the way back to the beginning of public education, where it came from, and why it should not be part of the government, how the founding fathers had no place for the government to be dealing with educating kids at all. But in doing so, it opened up a Pandora's box of corruption. And that's what we're seeing here. And in this film, we get to see how all that's uncovered, and all of the nuances and the conspiracies and all of this commingling of powers and scratching my back, you scratch your back. And it's just really, really disgusting in a lot of different ways. And so to watch this film, you're sitting back and you're saying, you know what? If I just follow the money, all this makes sense. But at the same time, the level of corruption is at an insane level. So for that, I'm gonna give this story a 7, because as a documentary, it does cover things that's more of a linear narrative. And so there's not much surprises here other than the fact that information that you may not know about, but that's just the way documentaries are in general. So a 7 for overall story. For emotional impact, I'm gonna give this film a 9 because it makes you extremely angry. It makes you really disgusted. There's a whole scene where they actually give a disclaimer telling you to take your kids out of the theater, essentially, that this is a content portion of the movie that's going to be of a very adult nature. But at the same time, everything you see in this film that they're telling you to take your kids out of the film, they're showing that same thing in the classroom for kids in 2nd grade, 3rd grade, 4th grade, 5th grade. And that is what is really appalling, that the fact that these parts in the film are so disgusting are actually being taught in our classrooms. So for anger alone, emotional impact is going to be a straight 9, and I probably could go a 10 here, but I'll stick with a 9 for now. As far as the intangibles, I'm gonna give this film a 10 because the level of information that it covers is just astronomical. It goes from a historical standpoint. It talks about other countries like Cuba and China and the similarities. There are people who are interviewing here who are from Cuba, who are from China, who understand the Cultural Revolution, understand Castro, and understand how the same things that were happening then are happening now. They talk about the Soviet Union and how the indoctrination process of how to bring down our country, the steps that they put in place, and we're seeing it now. And I'm gonna refrain from repeating some things on this particular review because I know YouTube might not like it and take it off the channel. So it doesn't matter to me because I think you need to see this film anyway. And I think from what you're getting from me right now, you kind of get the picture. And also for intangibles, like I said, Jonathan Flores, the director, is attached to Marvel, George Lucas, Industrial Lights and Magic. He has a lot of experience. I tell you, the production quality of this is just top notch. It's fantastic. The score is great in these films. He drives it beautifully. And so I must give him much props for that because This film was a pleasure to watch, and the backdrops where people were being interviewed was just really pleasant to look at. It was just a very well shot film, and as far as the audio in the film is concerned, there was no white noise whatsoever, and so I really appreciate that aspect as well. In terms of watchability, I'm gonna give this film a 10 as well, because I was taking notes in the theater on my cell phone, and it was just hard to keep up with, so you gotta watch it more than once. In fact, it needs to be taught to people in small groups, but just understand, sensitive ears may be offended by it. And so from an overall rating for this film, it's going to be a solid 8. I think this is wonderful in many bad ways because the subject matter is so hard to watch. It really is. It runs about an hour and 45 minutes, I believe, and it's hard to get through because some things are just really makes you uncomfortable, which goes back into that emotional score I gave it, because you're also really fidgety and you're not comfortable. It doesn't make you happy at all. But I will say this, at the end of the film, there is a strong positive message. There's encouragement, meaning that this battle can and actually should be won based on what's going on with the powers that be overplaying their hands. And you'll see for yourself what I'm talking about there. And for my conservative take, I'm going to point you to a link below in the descriptions. Check out that video and I will cover everything in much broader detail, whereas YouTube won't allow me to say those same things here. So for the overall score, it's 17, 3.5 stars with a go with caution for the reasons I mentioned. This film is wonderful. It's called Whose Children Are They? It raises the question, whose children are they? Is it the state or is it the parents? Of course, we know there are children, and that's what this movie gets across so well. It's wonderful. I recommend you see it when it comes out. I went to a one-time screening. However, it's going to be launched digitally worldwide. And I'll leave a link to that below as well. But here's the question. Are you planning on seeing Whose Children Are They? If you do, please comment below and let me know what your thoughts are on the film. And also let me know what your local school board looks like. I'd be curious to know what kind of makeup it is and if there's any signs that it could be flipped to a more conservative, or is it already a pretty good board, and maybe give us lessons of how to make our school boards as strong as yours. If you like what we do on this channel, we take pop culture and politics and flip it to you right. And please check out some more content that we have for you right